Hi, friends. It's Danielle. And it's September, the month where we transition from summer into fall, where we figure out more stable and sustainable schedules for ourselves and even our families. So this month, I'm sharing on a series of transitions because if there's one thing I know, it's that transitions come whether we're ready or not. And I know this firsthand because a couple weeks ago, my husband and I moved our daughter into her college dorm. And trust me when I tell you, I thought I was ready. I thought I had the transition nailed. But as I prepared to leave her, I was reminded of how hard transitions can be, but how important they are to our life. And don't get me wrong, she's strong, independent, and more than ready for this next chapter. But as I stood in her new room, I felt the quiet questions rise. What now? What does motherhood look like when the house is quieter? And who am I as a mom and as a person in this new season? And the thing is, I've felt those whispers before. Those feelings felt incredibly familiar because a few years back, I was in a leadership role that I had clearly outgrown. And I remember my husband asking me the tough questions that I was not willing to sit with and ask myself. He asked, "What's wrong? Is it time to move on? And is now the time to make the transition?" I knew he was right. But instead of reflecting, I pushed the whispers down. And eventually, they grew so loud, they became impossible to ignore. That experience taught me something, though. It taught me that reflection is not a luxury, it's necessary. And it allows us to not only notice the early whispers of transition before they become a roar that forces us into change, reflection also gives us deep insight on what we need in our next season. So, if you're feeling the tug of transition like me, whether in life or in leadership, don't wait until you're exhausted or burnt out, because too many of us wait until crisis before we stop and reflect. Don't let survival mode run your life. Catch the whispers when they come and create the intentional next steps for both the transition that you're facing and the next season ahead. Next week, I'll share a little bit more about our experience dropping our daughter off at college, but I'll also talk about the lessons learned in this transition because there are some important lessons that we can learn to help us in the next season of life. But here's a hint. Remember those choose your own adventure books from our childhood? Where at the end of each chapter, it left you with a series of choices for you to decide and choose which way your adventure would take you next. Well, let's just say they were onto something. I can't wait to tell you more about our experience next week. But I want you to remember if you're ready to do the work of reflection in a season of transition, you don't have to do it alone. I'd love to be on that journey with you. So let's connect.